Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics. Christos anesti, Christ is risen. Regarding Saint Isidore, the martyr of Chios. This saint was a soldier from Alexandria. He came with the Roman fleet to Chios, where he was betrayed as a Christian to Numerian, commander of the fleet. Because he boldly professed himself to worship Christ as God and refused to worship any other, he was tormented and beheaded in 251 during the reign of Decius. Your martyr, O Lord, in his courageous contest for you, received as the prize the crowns of incorruption and life from you, our immortal God. For since he possessed your strength, he cast down the tyrants and wholly destroyed the demon's strengthless presumption. O Christ God, by his prayers, save our souls, since thou art merciful. From Acts of the Apostles. In those days, Paul went on with Barnabas to Derbe. When they had preached the gospel to that city and had many disciples, they returned to Lystra and to Iconium and to Antioch, strengthening the souls of the disciples, exhorting them to continue in their faith, and saying that through many tribulations we must enter the kingdom of God. This is showing us the apostolic journey of St. Paul, and we will also see this reflected in his letters to these people. As he says to many of the places that he visits, I long to see you in person again. And when they had appointed elders for them in every church, meaning priests, with prayer and fasting, they committed them to the Lord in whom they believed. Then they passed through Pisidia and came to Pamphylia. And when they had spoken the word in Pergia, they went down to Attalia, and from there they sailed to Antioch, where they had been commended to the grace of God for the work which they had fulfilled. And when they arrived, they gathered the church together and declared all that God had done with them, and how he had opened a door of faith to the Gentiles. Remember, it was in Antioch that the Christians were now first called Christians, and this is where St. Paul went on his missionary journey starting from. But some men came down from Judea and were teaching the brethren, unless you are circumcised according to the custom of Moses, you cannot be saved. So in other words, you first have to become a Jew and be circumcised, then you can become a Christian. And when Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and debate with them, because they said that you don't need to do this, you can just confess Christ, you can be baptized, that's enough. Paul and Barnabas and some of the others were appointed to go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and the elders about this question. This is showing us how disputes are handled in the church through council. That it is not enough for one priest or bishop to say, oh, this is it because I said so. No, they go to Jerusalem and they're going to convene the first council. Now, while this is not the first ecumenical council, that is going to be held in 300 years, minus that a little bit, by Emperor Constantine. This is the first council of Jerusalem, in which we're going to establish what is correct, whether the Judaizers are correct, that people need to first become Jews, or Paul and Barnabas are correct, that you only need to be baptized. So being sent on their way by the church, they passed through both Phoenicia and Samaria, reporting the conversion of the Gentiles, and they gave great joy to all the brethren. And when they came to Jerusalem, they were welcomed by the church and the apostles and the elders, and they declared all that God had done with them. Now, this is very, very important because remember, St. Paul was a pariah prior to this because he was the one that was known to persecute Christians, to be a source of death. And so now he is being welcomed with celebration. This shows you just how much the attitude has changed and how fruitful his missionary journey has been.
The Gospel according to St. John. The Lord said to the Jews who came to him, for judgment I came into this world, that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may become blind. Some of the Pharisees near him heard this, and they said to him, are we also blind? Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would have no guilt. But now that you say, we see, your guilt remains. In other words, Jesus Christ as the light is shining on darkness, and that darkness is exposed. When we don't know what we're doing, then we are innocent of it, but we're not able to grow. Because the Pharisees say that they see and understand, they are now fully responsible and therefore guilty. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, That man is a thief and a robber, but he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. This is the gospel passage that is used for hierarchs throughout the year. It is showing us that anyone that tries to bring people to them instead of through Christ is a liar. To him the gatekeeper opens, the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he's brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep will follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So Jesus again said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not heed them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture," meaning that only through Christ are we able to find this rest.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's spiritual calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.